He talked about Judas, and Judas is a good friend to have because he's always hanging around.
See,
Thanks for making everyone comfortable before you get to the part that was
well,
awesome.
I decided that the Judas hanging around thing would be a palate cleanser before, after the rape. Because like religious discussion after rape, it's not the best
Is
comment.
suicide any better?
Touche, salesman.
But
Touche.
I gotta say, I like your fat Jesus joke. That was good. I think you should say though that you're Kirby if you eat Jesus.
That'd be awesome, because then I would have the power.
Yeah,
Well, only the power when you hit the button B.
right.
That's a Super Smash Brothers joke. Big all the nerds. There's a lot of nerds in the audience.
I can tell because I actually did well.
I'm gonna do all video game religion jokes for the next show. Bible Quest, the video game. So, obviously, you talk about growing up as a pastor kid.
You weren't paying attention.
Yeah, I was drinking a ginger ale.
It's okay.
This guy like me
My wife does the same.
looks on
Doesn't listen anymore.
well, I was listening.
Yeah, I did a joke. They were there. They laughed.
What do you think affected you more in contrast? Religion or unity?
I gotta say probably religion, because for so long in my life, because it was that super conservative, and I was nerdy, and the religion affected the nerdiness. Like, I read Harry Potter books, and my parents didn't know where they were until they got a letter, and then they came and took them away. Like, so it was a situation where I constantly had like me that was trying to get out, and like the religion was kind of always holding that back because I had to fit into the little tie-wearing Bob Jones box.
So I think you're one of the first people I've heard who like rebelled by getting married. That makes sense.
Yeah, well, that I got married. That wasn't rebellion. That was actually we were two Christian kids. That's what you do.
Yeah.
We couldn't live together. We couldn't have sex. We were having sex, but don't tell my parents. It was like
It's not like this will get a thing, like a computer.
They know by now. It's fine. But like the thing was, it was like that was the next step, was to get married, and so that's why I got married at 19. And in the crazy conservative Christian community, that's not rare. But what happened was we both got married at 19, and then we were kind of like, oh, this might not have been the best thing to do in the world. And it's crazy to have that level of responsibility when you're not really ready for it. You don't know who you are at 19 either. I didn't know I wanted to do this. And, I still, when I drive 3 hours and tell Joe, you're nice people, but I'm not going to pay for that. I still don't know if I want to do this. But, it's like, you don't know who you are, so that's a scary proposition, but when you're, that's the only option, that's what you do.
Okay. It seems like you have a lot of jokes that came from personal experience on hardships. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Have you came to a thing where you're like, I'm not comfortable with that yet? I can't tackle that joke yet. It stings too much.
Well, it's more.
I'm trying to go all Mark Maron on you.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. They don't know what that means, but I'm right with it. For me, there's nothing that I'm scared to talk about on stage. I even, when I first started doing comedy, I did a lot of stuff because my wife and I were actually married. Don't get married at 19. It's really dumb. I love you guys already. You laughed at my jokes. I'm telling you. Anyways, but we actually were separated for a while, and that happened because I got cheated on. And so a lot of my comedy when I first started was completely about that. And what I found is I'm not scared to talk about anything on stage, but audiences are scared when I talk about certain things on stage. A lot of people aren't ready for you to just stand up there and pour your heart out, especially if you're at a random bar gig and they're mad that you shut the game off anyways.
enjoy doing comedy more when it comes from a happy place, or a deep, kind of emotional based place?
I think the better the comedy is, it goes as close to sad and depressing as possible while still being able to be funny. I think a lot of times what comedians can do is take the things that everyone else wants to get through their brains as quick as possible and not focus on them. And I really like to take those things and make you focus on them and realize that and laugh, which is really profound. I tell a lot of dick jokes too. I'm really not that great at comic, but that's what I aspire to.
Okay. What was the first joke you came up with about religion? Kind of like, hey, I can make fun of, or I can do stuff about this upbringing that caused me some hardship.
It was and at that time it wasn't Jesus and Facebook, it was Jesus and MySpace. That's what was cool. That some of these kids don't understand, but we used to have walls and comments. It was great. No, it was
Our favorite songs.
our favorite songs that would pop up and annoy the crowd.
311, they're cool, right?
Yeah.
Not anymore. No.
Have you ever been to someone's MySpace page? It's like a time vault thing. You open it up and you're like, oh, that's the idiot I was in 1996.
If you play the game Fallout, it's like Fallout on a website.
Yes, exactly.
Barren wasteland.
Going back to video
You're welcome, nerds.
What was the original? Oh, but the first one I wrote was just, and at that time I was still married. I was doing some church comedy, actually, because I was still trying to plan it.
Mhm.
And I used to do all guitar comedy and sing songs. And I remember, and I was writing stuff like that, where I would write stuff like how funny it would be if Jesus came back now, instead of 2,000 years ago, and laughing about, different Facebook thing or it was MySpace things back then. And I realized that was frustrating to me because I thought that was really funny, but the church community I grew up in, that was way too edgy. Like, I would have gotten booed off the stage. Probably not booed off the stage, but parents would have reprimanded me or something. It wasn't acceptable. And I'm like, I'm not talking about sex or anything. I'm just talking about something that's there. And so that was,
Concept.
yeah. Because some of it's silly. Okay, a lot of it's silly.
Like the book of Leviticus, you could do some stuff on.
Yeah, and what was really crazy is I was studying to be a pastor too. I spent 2 years in theology school because that's that's where I was supposed to be, and it wasn't a good fit at all.
Okay, this is random. Did your theology school have restrictions on what rated R movies you could watch?
Yes, none.
None.
Except for Passion of the Christ, they let that one slip through.
I was like this close to going to Indiana Wesleyan University, and the R-rated movies they had were Passion, Shawshank Redemption, because it's about friendship. Yeah, there's rape, but it's about friendship. And it was just like, wait, I can watch gore, but I can't watch Die Hard 4000.
It's a really strange thing, and it was. I had to sign. I used to work at a Christian center, and I had to sign even the more trendier places that we're okay with drinking. I still had to sign a thing that I wouldn't drink in public. They weren't saying drinking was bad, but I just had to do it in the privacy of my home if I was going to be working for them.
Because clearly a sign of alcoholism is when you're alone, drinking, no one's around.
Yeah. That's how Jesus likes it.
Yeah, it's just he did turn water into wine.
He did.
Someone tried to tell me that was just a strong grape juice. Once.
That's what was told to me in theology class, was because they're so against drinking that even that threatens their. And I gotta say to a lot of the religious people here in the crowd, I try really hard to not ever bash religion or hate religion, or my wife and I come to throws over everything, but also religion, because she still believes, and I try never to bash things and try to and now that I'm going to a Catholic university and finding out what they think, and I grew up thinking all Catholics were going to hell, and now seeing some of the things they think and like, wow, that actually makes some sense. Now the Catholic Church has some problems too, especially if you're an attractive looking altar boy who looks like he can keep a secret. But they got some really cool things, like I had a theology professor talk about, like, they believe in reason and revelation, and that the two should never fight each other. And like revelation comes from God, obviously, and if you come to a belief that you believe is revelation, but it doesn't make sense with your reason, then you've mistaken the revelation. So like if you're how I grew up and you think, you know, everyone who lives a certain gay lifestyle deserves burning a fiery death, or if you think, you know, I should go to hell for reading Harry Potter, that doesn't make sense. You know, and so it's actually set up a system where, you know, the Catholic Church actually, you know, believes in evolution, which for me was a profound idea because I grew up and like thinking like it was only heathens and evil scientists, and I guess they were the same thing. But you know, that's what I grew up, and to find actual believing people who I respected that said, you know, no, it's okay to believe in this and this was kind of